Hello everyone, my name is John Cribb, and today I will be doing a speech on anxiety and depression among teens aged 13 to 18 in America. There are wounds that never show on the body that are deeper and more hurtful than anything that bleeds. That's a good way to explain anxiety and depression in teenagers. It's a big problem in America, and it's very undermined and not many people notice it. Today I will be discussing the statistics, the causes, and the effects of anxiety and depression. Anxiety is defined as a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, and depression is defined as a feeling of severe dejection or self-worthlessness. To begin with, I will be speaking on some statistics of anxiety and depression. It affects roughly 1 in 8 children at typical times, which was in the 1990s, and at the moment it is up to 25.1% of children experiencing anxiety and depression, with 5.9% experiencing a severe disorder. Overall, it's been a big jump since earlier in times, with 30.1% of females aged 13 to 18 experiencing it, and 20.3% of males. In the upper left chart, it shows you that 25.1% of children experience some form of anxiety and depression, whereas 5.9% experience a severe disorder, which can lead to the requirement for medication, the requirement of self-medication, which is drugs and alcohol and such, and even possibly suicide. In the bottom right, it breaks down the overall statistics for female and males aged 12 to 17, whether Hispanic, white, black, Asian, and 2 or more descent. Overall, it's a very big problem, regardless of how we look at it in America. It's very undermined and not many people realize it, and it keeps getting thrown to the back burner. To move along, I will begin talking about some of the causes of anxiety. Some of the causes are school performance. If you are typically a good student and you end up getting bad grades, it can make you feel self-worthless and such. Also social status, monetary status, sexual orientation, and even simple family problems can cause it. Any small problem is really detrimental to smaller people. Well, what I mean by smaller people is teens, because their brain is still in the process of developing, and it's just so much easier to actually trigger anxiety and depression. And also in the mind of someone who is experiencing this, they have that feeling of self-worthlessness, and it can just be triggered so easily for many people, whether it's because people consider you poor, whether people consider you weird because you're gay or such. There are so many causes that can be really detrimental to the lives of kids. And moving on, I will be speaking on the effects of anxiety and depression in kids. Some of the effects are broken down into short-term and long-term effects. The typical effects are going to last short-term due to the fact that the brain is still in the process of developing, and certain problems are going to slowly fade away as you grow older. But most problems being short-term are fatigue, irresponsible behavior, excessive self-guilt, rebellious behavior, compulsive behavior, which is undereating and overeating and such, difficulty concentrating, and association with drugs or alcohol. That's really not a good place to be as a child. You still have so much life to live, and it's so difficult to recover from such a problem like this, because you're in the time where you're getting that education and you're trying to make something of yourself, and it's hard to really recover. Some of the long-term effects are the requirement for legal prescriptions. They'll have to take medicine for the rest of their life to deal with the problems that they're experiencing. In addiction to self-medications, which is drugs and alcohol, and problems with social interaction. It makes it hard to actually interact with people. It makes it hard to make new friends, to actually associate with family, to get a job, to go to college, and to actually get out there in life and experience it fully. It's overall just a very big problem in America, and it's really undermined. Another thing is that it can really actually lead to suicide in many cases. It's very detrimental when you take a fact to step back and look at the fact that, let's estimate there are 25 million kids in America as of today. if 25% of those kids are experiencing anxiety and depression, or 1 in 8 children are experiencing that, then that'll be roughly 3.5 million people that are experiencing that. That's really a big problem, but you don't hear anything about it in the news, honestly. You don't see a lot of the actual problem itself. And regardless of how seemingly harmless it is to, for example, bully somebody, to joke on them because of their sexual orientation, to joke on them because of compulsive behavior they have and such, is really detrimental to some kids. It really hurts them. And depression and anxiety is a big problem, and the only way to fix it is to really help somebody and not judge them for who they are. You want to judge them with positive characteristics is what I mean. You want to be very helpful, and it's a very big problem. I mean, 25.1% of children in America, 13 to 18, are experiencing anxiety and depression. And overall, that's a very bad problem, and it needs to be fixed. We need to actually get together